All right, let's jump right into this. The source material we're looking at today proposes something, well, it's pretty out there. It's the idea that our reality is being systematically replaced by a very sophisticated six-layer simulation that's been built to, essentially, manage us.
And it kicks off with this pretty shocking claim. And to be clear, the source isn't speaking in metaphors here. They're arguing this is a literal thing, a piece-by-piece swap out of the world we think we know.
So, the core idea, the big thesis, is that we are living inside a kind of construct. It's made up of 6 overlapping layers that, well, they filter, they shape, and they ultimately control how we see things and how we act. And the whole point is to push us further and further away from real, direct experience.
So, you ready to go down the rabbit hole? Let's peel back these layers together, stick to what the source says, and really see how this supposed simulation is built.
Okay, so it all starts with layer 1. Think of this as the foundation for the whole thing. It's all about replacing actual experience with symbols.
And here's where it gets really interesting, this distinction the source makes. Think about it. We used to actually live through things. But now the argument goes, we just experience the coverage of them. We get these prepackaged interpretations, these headlines, these labels, and they take the place of real first-hand understanding.
To really hammer this point home, the source brings up the word brand. Now, we think of logos, right? But the original meaning, it comes from burning a mark onto livestock. And that's the central metaphor here, that we're being labeled, sorted, and managed just like cattle.
And this quote, it just nails the supposed result of all this. You know that feeling you sometimes get that everything feels a little fake, a little scripted and over the top? Well, according to this argument, that's you sensing this very first layer of the simulation.
All right, so if that's the foundation, let's build on it. Moving on to layers 2 and 3. This is where things get a bit more active. It's not just about filtering reality anymore. It's about actively shaping our behavior and taking control of information itself.
So layer 2 is all about human conditioning. And the argument is basically this: what we do isn't driven by what we genuinely feel inside anymore. Nope, it's driven by what gets rewarded on the outside. You know, the likes, the shares, the retweets, all that social approval.
And it works in this really simple but powerful loop. First, you do something, and it gets rewarded online. You get a rush of approval. So what do you do next? You repeat it. Maybe you even amp it up a little. And after a while, that external performance, it starts to feel more real, more important than how you actually feel inside. The source calls this the death of authenticity.
Okay, so once you've got people chasing approval, real information becomes a threat to the system. Why? Because real information actually answers questions and leads to resolution. It ends the loop. So layer 3 is all about replacing it with a substitute.
And this is such a key distinction the source makes: information versus content. Information gives you answers. It creates understanding. It ends the conversation. But content, that's totally different. It's designed to provoke a reaction, to trigger an emotion, and to keep you scrolling, clicking, and arguing forever.
And that brings us to the next couple of layers. And honestly, this is where things get a lot more aggressive. We're talking about the weaponization of our deepest emotions and the very stories that shape our world.
Layer 4 is all about fear. It's tapping into something primal, something deep inside all of us. That terrifying fear of being ostracized, of being kicked out of the group. Today, that translates to the fear of being canceled, of getting the wrong label stuck to you, of being seen as, one of them.
And why fear? Simple. Because according to this theory, nothing, and I mean nothing, scales engagement to better. It is the absolute rocket fuel for this entire machine.
Just look at how it works, mechanically. Fear makes you react instantly. No time for thought. It completely destroys nuance. It makes you hit that share button like it's a reflex. And it locks events into your memory. I mean, if you were designing a system for maximum engagement, fear would be your perfect tool.
All right, on to layer 5, narrative warfare. This is huge. The argument here is that what we think of as news isn't really about reporting what happened anymore. It's about building a story, a frame, around what happened that tells you exactly how you're supposed to feel about it.
And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Facts don't radicalize people. Narratives do. A spreadsheet of facts doesn't get anyone off the couch. But a story with a good guy, a bad guy, and a clear moral battle, that's what gets people fired up.
And this is where the source applies that idea to politics. The whole left versus right thing,
The argument is that it's not a real clash of ideologies anymore, it's just brilliant marketing. You've got two major brands, two emotional markets. They segment the audience, sell them a story, and you get totally predictable reactions. And the best part for the system? It keeps us all busy fighting each other.
So where does all this lead? It all comes together in the sixth and final layer, the grand theater, where this entire performance takes place.
And here it is, the final layer of the simulation. According to this source, modern politics isn't a system for solving problems. It's a stage. It's pure performance art.
Think about it. The point of this theater isn't to get anything done. It's to keep you, the audience, hooked. You get these high-drama hearings where nothing actually happens. You get these incredibly emotional speeches, and then nothing changes. It's all designed to look like action without any of the results.
So after all that, what's the solution? How do you get out of it? Well, interestingly, the source doesn't say you should fight it. The proposed antidote is just to see it, to understand the machinery, to recognize the layers and the narratives. The idea is that once you see how the trick is done, the magic just stops working.
And that really leaves us with one last big question to think about. Once you can see the stage, once you recognize the actors and the script, does the play still have any real power over you?